Hi everyone, my name is Walter and I'm a working actor, and this video is an instructional video on how to set up a self-tape. So as you can see, this is what my self-tapes look like when I submit to a role to a casting director. I have no distracting things in the background. I have a nice solid backdrop. I'm well lit. There's not really any shadows on my face. You can see every facial expression clearly. You can hear me very well. So all of that distraction, bad lighting, bad sound, busy backdrop, has all been removed from the casting director's attention so they can focus on me as an actor, and now everything else is up to me. So, if I'm a good actor and I can bring it on the audition screen, then they're going to see it in this type of self-tape. So we're going to start today by talking about lighting, okay? So you can see that this is a well-lit audition. Okay, it's not by any means professional, as far as you're not going to see a soundstage set up this way for a network television set. However, what I'm doing is what's called basic 3-point lighting. Okay, so what I have is I have a key light, which is the light directly in front of me. Mine's a little bit off center. It's right, instead of being right here where the camera is, it's right here off to the side just a little bit. Okay, but what this does is it puts light evenly and evenly distributes lighting across my entire face and the front of my body. And then what we have after the key light is the fill light. Okay, now the fill light creates a wash of light across. So what the key light does is it lights the front of me, but without the fill light, you'd have harsh shadows right here because the light's right there. If it was dead on, there'd be harsh shadows around the edges of my face, and there'd be heavy shadows in the back. So the fill light kind of puts a nice filling light across that. So you've got lighting the subject and then putting a wash of light across to make the lighting even and soft, okay? And then the third light is the hair light or the rim light, okay? And what that light does is it creates some separation between you, the subject, and your background, okay? So it makes you a little bit more three-dimensional. Now, if you're not gonna set up one of those three lights, the one to leave out is the rim or the hair light, okay? I can turn that off and you'd notice almost no difference in this tape. Part of that is because my rim light is a fairly weaker rim light, but part of it is because I have no hair, and so lighting on my hair doesn't make me seem two-dimensional against the backdrop. So you'll see right now that you can see this nice crisp line on my shoulders of my hoodie. You can see this nice crisp line around my head. So I pop off of the backdrop a little bit. If I had hair, the hair light would be a little bit more important because lighting on my hair without it would make that seem to be closer to the background. The third part has nothing to do with 3-point lighting. So you'll see there's not a lot of distracting shadows behind me, and that's because I have lit the backdrop separately of lighting that's designed to light me. So you've got 3-point lighting to light the actor, key light, fill light, hair light, or rim light, and then you've got lighting to light the background, which is a little bit less important. You don't need to worry about there being some shadows, okay? I have a little bit better of a setup than a lot of people are able to do because I have the room for it, okay? It's hard sometimes to get the room, but that's gonna be the third least important light. So if you don't have a rim light but you have an extra light, I would use it to try to eliminate some of the shadows in the background. And actually that will help separate you from the background too, just a little bit, just not as well as a proper rim light does. So let's get started. So the way I'm going to do this is, first of all, I've turned off all the lights in the room, okay? So all I have going right now are the lights for the audition setup. So my key light, my fill light, my hair light, and my background lights. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off all of those lights, and we're going to see what this would look like if there are no lights on except for the lights I've got on way back there that light the basement. So let's take a look at that first. Okay, so this is what it looks like with no lights. I just have the lights on back in the back area of the basement so that you can see me without those lights on. This would be a completely black screen. So right now I'm filming with my phone. So my phone is mounted on a tripod, okay? And so it's horizontal. You always want to film auditions horizontal, never vertically on your phone. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the key light. The key light is the light directly in front of me. And what that does is that's what lights the subject. So this is how it looks with no light. Key light, no light, key light. So this is why the key light is the most important light, because you can see it puts a nice even lighting across the front of me. Now, there are issues. There's a big shadow behind me, okay, which can be distracting, but if you have a solid background, the casting directors are going to be willing to forgive that shadow, okay? Because this isn't something that you're putting out there for production, so it's not like having a boom in the shot or something like that. So we've got this nice evenly dispersed light. This one's a little harsh because I have a full lighting system, so if this is the only light I have, I would push it further back because as you can see, the further you get away from the light, the less harsh it is. So I would push that light back a little bit. But it's not the only light I have, so I'm going to leave this. But as you can see with the key light, you can see my face. You can see everything about me. I could give an audition. You can see all my features, and it's a nice even light, okay? So that's why the key light is so important. Now, because we have the room, you see this dark shadow on this side of my face because this light's just off center. It's coming from there. So there's, some heavy shadow. You can see some shadows being cast by my nose a little bit. If I turn this, it can be a little bit distracting and it's not quite as nice. So in order to get rid of a lot of that, what we need is a light that washes across us and opens up the room, okay? And that's going to be the fill light. So I'm going to show you what just the fill light looks like. So this is me with the key light. Fill light. So this is just the fill light. So I've turned off the key light and now I have the fill light and this is what washes across. Now you can see that with the fill light on and nothing else, I have this shadow on this side of my face because the fill light's over here. The fill light's about twice as far away from me as the key light. Now I'll show you that. I'll take this off the tripod and I'll take the handheld and I'll show you what all this looks like. But I just want you to see what the lighting does. So right now this light is to my side, but not directly to my side. It's about, it's a little bit between me and the camera. So the way that this works is the further up the light is, the more it washes in front of you. Now I like to have it a little bit, about the edge of the light's about on my shoulder. The tripod is about here in front of me, between me and the camera. And so what that does, that allows the majority of light to wash across and fill, and it allows some of the light to create some depth behind me. So this is just the fill light. This is no key light. You see the shadows on this side of my face. And in film, you might see a shot like this to create some kind of dramatic effect for the character, half in light, half out of light. But this is an audition, so we want to be evenly lit. So this is the fill light, key and fill light. So now we're getting somewhere. So now we've got a nice even lighting across the front of me, and we've got a fill light washing out some of the sharp relief and making that light even softer. So these are two soft boxes that I've got, okay? And we're trying to save some money. We're trying to do this on a budget. So these two soft boxes cost me less than $70 on Amazon, okay? So we've got our key light, we've got our fill light. So now the lighting is looking pretty good, okay? We still have some shadows behind us, but they're not horrible. This would work for a casting director. This would make them more than happy. We can see the actor, we can hear the actor. It's very clear what's going on. We just have a little bit of shadow in the background, okay? And I'm a little bit two-dimensional. Now, again, if we're gonna have a light that we can miss in our three-point lighting system, it should be the rim light or the hair light, okay? The hair light, again, is what gives us just a little bit of pop off the background. When I turn it on, you almost aren't gonna notice a difference with the other two lights on. So I'm gonna do like I did with the first two lights. I'm gonna turn them off and I'm gonna show you what it looks like with just the rim light. Now, this is me with just the rim light. So you can see that there's not really any lighting on my face. If I turn those lights off, this would all be black and you would just kind of see a silhouette outline of me, okay? And what this does is it gives me that kind of shape against the background, okay? So that's all it does. And if you're gonna miss one of your lights in the three-point lighting system, this is going to be the one to miss, okay? So I have key light, fill light, rim light, or hair light, okay? And so now we're gonna go ahead and show you what that looks like again with the other two lights coming back. So rim light, fill light, key light. So now we have the three lights of our lighting system: key light, fill light, rim light. Again, this is gonna make a casting director more than happy, okay? Now for me, I'm a perfectionist and I'm also not the prettiest thing in the world, so I need all the professional advantages I can get. So what I wanna do is I wanna take this nice solid background and get rid of all this shadow going on, this distracting, okay? So what I have now, outside of our three-point lighting, which is just to light the subject of our video, or our audition, which is the actor, now I'm introducing a light that washes shadows out by lighting the backdrop, okay? These lights are completely optional. You don't have to have them. The cheapest way to do it if you have room is to get another pair of these boxes, because again, it's like 60, 70 bucks. So just spend another 60, 70 bucks, get a pair of these, and use those to cross light your background. But let's go ahead and take a look at it. So this is with just the 3-point lights. And now I've lit my backdrop. Okay, so now that I've lit my backdrop, a lot of the shadow goes away. There's still going to be a little bit, but unless the casting director is looking for shadows, they're not going to see shadows. All they're going to see is this nice professional looking audition. And that, my friends, is the goal. And that is key in making sure that you can compete when you send in a self-tape audition. So now that we see what all this looks like, now we're going to take the camera off the tripod and I'm going to show you how these lights are positioned. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is the lights, okay? So this is my softbox, and we've got a diffuser on the front, and this casts that nice even light, okay? Now this is what we want. Is we want this white daylight type of light, okay? So I've got my key light here, and then I've got my fill light over here, okay? So here's my mark, and so you'll see that the key light is much closer to me than the fill light, okay? So the fill light is about 6 feet away and the key light is about 4 feet away, okay? So my camera is on this tripod right here, and that key light is just off center, but it lights me right at my midline, and it lights me nice and even. So again, we'll take a look. Tripod, here's my key light, right there next to camera, going right onto the actor. Okay, and then here's my fill light. Okay, and you'll see that there's my mark. So you'll see that the fill light sits in front of me just a little bit to wash over and fill in that space. Okay, now you'll see these lights here. Now these lights I was talking about that light the backdrop. I do not recommend getting these lights for the reasons I said before. They're very expensive, and these get really hot because they're halogen, and they create a yellow light, and you can see I've put these blue gels across the front to create that daylight that matches the white light coming out of the soft boxes. This is just a California King blue sheet that I've pinned to the wall, and there's my rim light. It's a $12 battery powered LED brick, and it's dimmable, okay? So that's all I've done there. You can see I've got a gray background as well. I don't really like to use it because the color gray, this shade of gray doesn't work well for me because it washes out my skin when I've got this color lit. So I stick with blue, but this is all it is. So you can see I keep my overhead lights turned off while I'm auditioning. I've got my $24 Amazon tripod. Notice my audio has gotten kind of tinny and kind of distant, but you'll see here, connected to my phone right now, is this small microphone. It connects to my phone via that jack right there. And you can see that as I turn this microphone toward me, the sound quality vastly improves. And when I turn it away, the sound quality goes down. So now once again, you'll hear that the audio sounds great because my microphone is pointed toward me. And the reason that this is worth doing in your home audition studio is because, you know, other people live in this house. So right now, upstairs, my wife is running the kitchen sink and I can hear it, but you can't, because all you hear is the great sound coming from the microphone there. So I highly, highly recommend getting the actual Rode Video Micro. I tried to get one of the cheaper knockoffs. It sounded like crap, so I went ahead and spent the extra $20 with $50 total to buy the Rode microphone to give yourself good studio sound for your audition. So there we have it. We have our 3-point lighting. For me, we have the lighting on the backdrop, we have the microphone, and that has all the makings of a professional looking self-tape audition. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, check out the links below to buy the things you need to set up your home studio. My next video is going to be for how to set up a mobile studio for very little money that has almost the same quality of lighting and sound. So until next time, thanks for watching, guys.